Hello everybody, it's Penny Shelton here, and today is Wednesday, November the 17th. Got a couple little things to share with you all today. First of all, just a brief story. This morning I go to the dentist. It's just a standard checkup, teeth cleaning appointment, and everything was fine. Thankfully, no cavities or no problems. Very grateful that I have good dental health. And so as I'm leaving the dentist's office, I'm talking to my dad on the phone, and many of you who've been with me for a while know Mr. Collins, Mr. Howard Collins, my dad, who is going to be 81 in January, and mentioned to him that I'd been to the dentist and everything was good, and he just nonchalantly says, well, I haven't been to the dentist in over 40 years. And I'm like, what? And no, he hasn't been to the dentist, has had no tooth pain, no problems, he says. He's still got all of his teeth, and he says that he brushes and flosses them every day, but he doesn't want some doctor poking around in his mouth. Well, what do I say? I'm like, well, I did mention that I thought it might be a good idea to just, have them cleaned. And he didn't seem to be interested in that. And of course, then I made the mistake of mentioning that we had even had one of our dog's teeth cleaned earlier. It was real early on this fall, and I could literally see him shaking his head in disgust when I mentioned that. I mean, that to him, that was me taking money and flushing it down the toilet. I mean, because it's true. I mean, I don't even know. I know that we always had dogs when I was growing up, and I'm sure we never had their teeth cleaned. I'm sure we didn't, but I'm into my pets, and she had a lot of tartar, and the dentist thought it would be a good idea, so I'm sure, sucker. But anyway, so I'm sure some of you all have had your dog's teeth cleaned too. But anyway, so that was just kind of a cute story. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know what to think about it, but good for him, right? Okay, he hasn't had to get his head x-rayed every year, because they always love to do those x-rays, which I'm not a big fan of myself, and I know there's all kinds of, I try to stay away from getting x-rayed whenever possible. And I always fight them on it at the dentist's office. So enough about that. Okay. Well, the next thing I wanted to mention was that if you haven't had a chance to listen to the Raw Talk Tuesday from yesterday, the interview with Jan Van Benthuizen, what a great last name. I mean, I can hardly say it. If you haven't listened to that, you need to listen to it. It's really powerful, and ever since I did that interview on Monday morning with her, I have just been, it really has kind of changed me. And I mean, the story of healing and weight loss is really, really powerful, but it just sort of got onto the inside of me, and I've really been meditating on this phrase, eat as though your life depended upon it. What would you do? What would you do differently if your life depended upon what you were eating and drinking? How would you change it up? And not that you should, pretend that you have a cancer diagnosis or pretend that you have a life-threatening illness, but, when you really take the time and think about what you would do differently, how you would tighten things up if you had that kind of a diagnosis, and eat like that for a while. I think it's brilliant, and I think that's really where I'm at in my life right now. It's where I just, I don't want to color outside the lines. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to be 100% raw 100% of the time, but if I do choose to eat some cooked food, I want to really be thinking and mindful about that, just more watchful about it, because as we know from so many people's stories, this diet really can change your life dramatically. It saves people's lives when they make those kinds of changes. It can. It's really up to us, right? It's up to us on how serious we get with it. So that's my plug. If you haven't listened to the interview, it'll be 40 minutes well spent. I'm just telling you, it really will be. And then the last thing is I had the pleasure of getting to talk to Dave the Raw Food Trucker and Teressa, Beauty, Elegance, and Grace last night on the phone. And it seems like we always end up talking when they're on the road, and they've got me on speakerphone and they're driving, and I really love those two. I mean, it's the most crazy thing, and I know a lot of you will be able to relate to this, but, you know, we've never met in real life. You know, we've only met on the internet, and we've only talked on the phone, which is the relationship I have with so many of you. You know, it's like we haven't met in real life, so many of us, but I feel him. I can sense his, it's like we're a member of a tribe. We are family, and I feel that way about you guys. And so, but it's just really cool. And I could hear some tiredness in their voices just because, like, they've been pushing it. You know, they've been traveling. They haven't really had any kind of a consistent, steady thing or setup for a long time now, a couple months. And but that's getting ready to change. And I wrote some notes down while I was talking to him because I did want to give you guys the update. But I would say that he says he is, and I can hear it in his voice, that he is getting better every day. He is feeling stronger, and he's seeing improvements in just some of these lingering effects of the stroke. You know, he's starting to really see improvements. And he's very, very close to making the decision on what doctor he is going to be working with moving forward. And we know for sure that they're going to be settling into the San Francisco Bay Area for this season of healing when he's working with this doctor. I think he's got it narrowed down to maybe 2 different doctors. And this one doctor in particular sounds very interesting. He is a medical doctor. However, he works with heart patients, specifically working with them on healing modalities and protocols to get them off of their heart medications in a safe, supervised manner. And apparently, you know, is very up on the whole diet thing and is willing to work with Dave on his terms. So I think it's really encouraging, and Dave sounded really, really upbeat about it. So I'm tickled about that. So around that second week of December, they'll be settling into the Bay Area. Right now they're en route. They were in Medford, Oregon when I was talking to them on their way to Portland. They've got a couple different things that they're going to be doing in Portland, and then they're going to drive on in and spend the Thanksgiving holiday with some family members up in Seattle, and then they will be working their way back down to the Bay Area, and then they're going to be stabilizing there for a time period. I mean, it may not be their forever home, but they're going to set up a home base camp there in the Bay Area. So it all sounded really good. And we talked for a long time, and one of the things that Dave and I were talking about is this concept of eating and drinking as though your life depended on it. And, you know, he does a lot of phone consultations and talks to people, specifically a lot of the time about juice feasting, because that's been a practice that he has incorporated, and it's been such a huge part of his healing journey. But one of the things that he feels so strongly that moving forward that he's going to want to put the word out, so to speak, is how important it is for people to really educate themselves, especially if they're going to embark on a long-term juice feast, especially if they're very obese and have a lot of health problems. So really educating themselves, not just hearing the concept and then deciding they're going to go on a juice feast, because sometimes that can cause problems. It's so cleansing, it can really put a lot of strain on a person's internal organs, especially if they already are having kidney problems or liver problems, heart problems. It's a very good idea to seek wise counsel before starting a big dietary shift like that. And so he is a proponent of that, as I am as well. And so many of us, myself included, will just, we'll get an idea and we'll just go full steam ahead into it without doing our homework. So I think you can probably expect to hear that message more and more from Dave moving forward as he gets more into getting settled, starting to make some videos, which, he's definitely going to be plugged in here at Raw Food Rehab. He loves Raw Food Rehab. He and Teressa both love you guys so much. They have probably hundreds, if not thousands, of unreturned emails, which I know stresses them out, but I really know that once they have the time, they're really looking forward to getting a little bit more connected one-on-one with everybody. So that's really all my ramblings for today. I just wanted to come and make this video and talk to you a little bit about what all has been on my mind, what's been going on in my world, give you those updates. And I want to encourage you to come back tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to be giving away the Bernardo Lepalo prizes, and that was the way that you get your name into the drawing, is by going to our monthly roll call check-in, telling me your name and where you live. And I'm going to have all those names in a drawing. Going to be drawing 4 winners tomorrow in tomorrow's video, so you won't want to miss that. Are you feeling lucky? Might be your time to win, so I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. I love you guys. See you then. Bye.